Hello, my name is Luisa Diaz Chamorro and I'm a professional artist, and I would like to introduce you my watercolor course online. So the course is going to be 9 lessons, and every lesson lasts between 1.5 hours and 2 hours, more or less, and it's going to be divided into levels. So basic level, intermediate level, and advanced. So the first 3 lessons are going to be the basic level, and the things we will do in the course, we will try to cover several subjects. Probably we will I'd like to cover water and boats. Would like to cover also a little bit of flowers, and of course I would like to cover also portraits. For example, showed you some things about related to portraits and how, for example, also how to draw an eye. I can do it like this. Okay, you can see. And also figures are very interesting. For example, figures that you can put in a landscape. So we'll be covering also figures, and yes, some examples that I would like to show you. Also, we will be covering skies, things like this, starting by levels, okay? So don't worry, it's not going to be difficult at the beginning. I would like to do also a cat, okay? And well, just to show you some things that we could do. And also you see some landscape with figures that are very nice also. And okay, so I will start right now to show you in this video that is going to be like the 0 number lesson, number 0, just to show you my materials and to show you how I use the watercolor paper. You see things like this in several conditions, okay? So I will demonstrate this, you see this, we will do this small, let's say 9 situations, let's say, when the paper is very, very wet and we have different batches. This line in vertically are the paper, very wet, medium wet and dry. And you can see by using several brushes in this line, the horizontal, we will use a big brush with a lot of water. In the intermediate line, like this, we will use a medium brush with less water. And on this side, we will use a small brush, okay? You will see how you can use the watercolor paper and how you can use your brushes. And you will see also how it's possible to draw with the brush when the paper is wet. Okay, so you will get everything soft. So okay, let's start. Okay, so before starting, I wanted to show you also things that we will be covering, like composition studies, how from one picture we can take out several compositions. And also, you see, you don't need to use really watercolor paper to do this, because you can test the tonal values and you can test also the colors before starting your watercolor. And we'll probably try to do also these Hydrangea, not in the first level probably, but in the intermediate one. Okay, so my materials, starting by this is my palette. Okay, first thing I showed you, this is a board that needs to be water resistant, let's say, to get the paper more time wet, okay? So this is not okay if you use something that absorbs the water, okay? So my palette, it is a whole vein palette. The colors are distributed in, here I have cold colors, and in this I have warm colors, okay? Well, the warm colors are from the, I will tell you just which are my colors. So yellow apples, lemon yellow, Indian yellow, then sienna. I have burnt sienna, burnt amber, yellow ochre, and some reds and rose, primary rose, orange. This one is rose opera, and this is sepia, which is the darkness one, and is very black, but it's warm. Okay, and from the cold side, I use a black, and now it's a little empty. This is a Payne's Gray, which is also very black, but it's a little bit tendency to blue, and it's cold instead of this one, which is cold, it's warm. I don't use too much violet, okay, but I normally use, or I mix violet. I create my violet, okay, and several blues like indigo, cerulean blue, and I also like, it's almost empty, I need to put again more, blue Windsor, which I like very much, and lavender, and blue phthalo. I don't use too much greens, okay? I have a couple of them here, but normally I create it, because I will explain during my course also the greens are difficult, and you can have many greens by mixing all the rest of colors. And yeah, I forgot the white I use sometimes. Okay, this is Chinese white, but is also I also use sometimes acrylic to put some touches. Okay, the brushes, I have really many brushes, but normally you need big brushes at the beginning, the mop, to do your first wash. Okay, brushes that take a lot of water, and then a medium brush that take less water. Okay, this is like similar. You don't need to have the same as me, but this is a Skoda Aquarius, and you can have something similar. There are really a lot of brands. And this is a medium brush. It takes less water, okay? And this is like this is a Skoda Perla number 12. I don't know which is the number of this one, but could be like 1.5 centimeters, the diameter, and this is like 3.5 centimeters long, like this. Okay, this is a flat brush. It is enough if you have one. This is 25 millimeters, like from here. Okay. This is not synthetic. This is synthetic. This is also not synthetic. Yes, I use also some calligraphy brushes, and some big brushes also to wet the paper. Some small calligraphy brushes also. Okay, these are my calligraphy brushes. Okay. This is another brush that takes a lot of water. It's similar to this one, but it has a let's say water container here, and then it's good to use at the beginning with your first wash. Okay, and you see this one does not have the water container, which is better when you don't need to have a lot of water in the brush. Okay, sometimes I use this, okay, to do this splashing, and this is a rigger, very useful to create lines very easily. And sometimes I use a pen like this with this it is a well, this one, number 0.8, like this. Okay, don't know if you can see well. And water containers, I use normally these two different, they behave differently, okay? So it's interesting to have a couple of them and to see how they works. We'll show you during the course. And also, of course, you need a lot of water. Sometimes I use masking fluid, and I also use a tape sometimes to fix the paper to the board that I have here. But sometimes I wet both sides of the paper, so you don't need your scotch to put around. Also, of course, you need also something to dry the paper if you want to do it, or if not, you wait. That is better because instead of drawing the paper with the hair phone, it's better to let them dry naturally. Okay, so I will start the short demonstration now. Okay, to do this exercise, well, I forgot to mention my pencil and my eraser. Okay, I use this kind of eraser that you can model easily. Okay, and normally I use a 4B pencil, and I think it's about 2 millimeters diameter. Okay, and I like to use my technical pencil, which is more easier for me, but it's something personal. Okay, I will draw less squares. Let's do like this. One, we'll try to draw, divide it into one line here. Try to press a little bit, it will be easier to see it. And I will, so one here. Okay, I've divided into 9 squares. So this line is going to be, the paper is going to be very wet, right here, wet. Thing is, you can see it. Probably can be a little more near. Let's try with my camera. Okay, let's see. Okay, so this line is going to be very wet. This is going to be, let's say, less wet, and this is going to be dry. Okay, this line, every line a paper condition, and from this side we will have a very big brush, quindi so big brush. Okay, I will use in this line, I will use medium brush and in the last line I will use, let's say, this one. I forgot to show you probably before, this is one of my small brushes that I use a lot. This is Borciani Bonazzi series 900 and number 8, okay, which is a synthetic brush, but I like very much. And this is a small brush. Okay, so the first thing I do, and during the course I will be demonstrating all these conditions, okay, during the exercise that we will do. So I take this brush, okay, which is my mop, and I will I put water only in this square, okay. And the way how you wet the paper is very important. Sorry, I try to take my microphone near. Okay, so you see I'm waiting here, and if I put under the light, you will see how it is wet. So I try to wet exactly this square. So now, literally, you wait a moment. Let's say 10 seconds, or yes, 20 seconds to get the paper to absorb the water. Then I take more water and put more water here, okay? And okay, more water. So when it's very wet and the paper has absorbed the water, the paper is, let's say, everything must be, let's say, gradually. So for example, if I put under the light, you see there are some drops somewhere dropping here the water. So you need to wait until the water is, let's say, it is all the same, there's no drops, let's say. Okay, it's still not okay. Imagine you want to do a sky, you need to do this exercise, otherwise you don't get softness in your sky. So wetting the paper a couple of times, and then to wait to see. Okay, sometimes, yeah, another, sorry, I forgot to mention before in my material list, I always use the paper. Okay, so with this, you need to always have this in your hands, and then, okay, let's wait a moment. I see also the water is moving around, so we need to wait to absorb. Maybe I stop a little bit, few seconds, the registration. Okay, I've been waiting like a couple of minutes only. Okay, then I choose a color. Well, another important thing is that normally I don't clean a lot my palette because sometimes I reuse again the colors I have here. So if you have a metallic palette, it could be better than the plastic one because you can mix in a better way your colors and it behaves very well. Okay, this is a whole vein palette. And I use only, probably I didn't mention, but I use only watercolor from tubes, okay? Several brands. Okay, so now I take this brush. Okay, let's use, normally I use blue, but this time I wanted to use a sepia, okay, to do this demonstration. So the sepia is here. So the first line, from the brush's point of view, it is a big brushes in all three, but I am in this one right now. You see the water is distributed homogeneously. It is distributed the same in the papers. Sorry, I'm trying to show you from the reflection of the light. You see, now there's no drops, or maybe a little bit again, but almost no drops. And it's and now I take. I wanted to show you what you can do. If you need to create here like a soap and put a lot of water, put in water. You see, and I have like, this could be my first wash, okay? So with the same color, you have a lot of values, okay? From the more clear to the dark, to the more dark. So let's start, but I want to do something clear. And maybe let's start by doing this, just putting a color here. Imagine you are creating a sky that I will demonstrate in my first lesson. So you see, when you do this, you can cover the whole, probably, so I can lines like this, okay? And then you move. We always need to use gravity, okay? And in this case, now, if I could reduce the density even using the same brush, like here, you see here. And I could add this on the top, you see, by increasing the density in the peak that on my palette, I can have more dark. And then I can move a little bit, and you can see how the paper behaves, all the effects you can do. For example, raining effect, you can do like this. I'm trying to show you because and you see, you get all these effects, nice effects. If you see you have a lot of water, you can try to dry a little bit the borders. And then this is very dry paper and very dry brush and big. Okay, so I will do the same exercise in the second line. Try to use a clean water. Maybe I'm using the same. I don't want to touch this one with the water, otherwise it's going to enter this color into this square that I don't want. So I try to, and I put the water here. I do the same exercise, so waiting 2 times, and more wet, and then wait again some minutes, because now there's a lot of water, but the paper needs to absorb, otherwise it will going to dry very quick and you will not have a lot of time to create your artwork or your watercolor, your sky, or the thing you can do it. So I stop a moment and then I wait a couple of minutes and come back later. Okay, I've been waiting like 2 minutes more or less. Then I take this brush, which is smaller, and I will take less water. I'm going to modify the consistency of my of the brush. So you see by taking this in this side, you see that now it's not this could be like tea, and this could be a little more, let's say not chocolate, but maybe meal or very dense. You see a little more dense. There are many states, so this demonstration is going to see, but you will not get exactly the same result as myself because it's going to be always different. But so now this brush is taking less water, and now I will show you what I can do with this brush. You see, it's much more dark. For example, I cannot, maybe I can stop here and just use gravity to see what happened. You see the effects is different, and you see this kind of effect that you can use for many things, for the sky, for the water, to paint water, anything that will be demonstrated, okay? And sometimes you get accidents, so it is useful sometimes don't do the drawing, because maybe from accidents you can take out something nice, or anyway. So this is the second one, and then always using gravity, moving, and same thing here. If I want to draw into with the same brush, even I can take the pigment directly from the tube. I can take this, I can remove water. You see what I've done? I'm doing this and removing water from my brush, and if I want, I can draw something. You see, draw a line. And you can see how the line is going to be when the paper is very wet. Also, it's possible to draw something. Okay. So next one, I do exactly the same exercise. I will clean again this here. Sorry, clean, I wanted to say wet. So I will get wet here. And again, waiting a couple of times to get, and I stop a couple of minutes. So again, to wait that the paper absorb the water to have something uniform. Let's see, I wanted to show you the reflection. There are some drops moving, so it's important to wait a moment. Well, during the time we wait, I can show you now that I will take a small brush. I will take this one, my Borciani Bonazzi, and every time you reduce the brush, you reduce the let's say you reduce the water in the brush, okay? So this time, by using this one, I can increase also the consistency. So at least this could be a similar, not really Nutella, but almost, because I wanted to have the brush small but very wet. Well, I mean, this brush is going to be very wet, this is going medium wet, and this is going to be small brush, okay? And in this one, well, the medium brush could be also very wet, but also could be also more dry. So we have, again, all the conditions for the brush. I will start by this one, maybe adding some water here, but you see, I wanted to show you that with the small brush you will get more pigment and less water, and maybe I can do this, you see. And for example, I can do maybe more from here. And again, I can do this moving with the gravity and see what happened. Okay, you see that this kind of accidents occur, but they are not accidents, they are, yes, this watercolor. Then you see this, you can draw with the brush, you can take from here. This is very interesting to experimenting before doing your watercolor. I take the pigment from the tube directly, which is very creamy. I'm going to do this to remove water from the brush, And then when the paper is wet, you can draw something. Okay, you can draw an eye, or you can draw a mountain, and you can do many things, okay? And even when you have a clear color, let's say from here, I remove a lot of water from here, but now the color is more clear because I have more water. And I can try to draw something same. It's going to be more clear, but you can do, so you need to test. Another thing you can, sorry, I tried to put my microphone here. Another thing you can do is also lifting. And this is a synthetic brush. So if you clean and then you do this, okay, I can lift something, okay, doing this, washing again, and then I can lift something from here, you see? I'm removing, the first time you remove the water, and the second time you start to remove, every time I touch, I clean, I do this, then I remove again, okay? Then I lift again like this. You can modify things, you can experimenting. I'm trying to, let's say, do an eye here. And now maybe taking the color from the pigment, I can put here the pupil or the top side of the eye. You can do something like this. You see, you can draw with your, now maybe just with, sometimes you do things just with water. Anyway, could be, maybe you could do a line like this, just taking from the pigment, the color from the pigment. Okay, this is just an example. I'm going to go forward with the next column, which is going to be medium wet, the paper, but I will use the same brushes, big, medium, and small. And then we will pass to do dry, okay? So medium wet, it means this. It's just more difficult, probably, and I will demonstrate during the course, okay? Maybe I wet 1 little here, 1 little here, but I'm leaving some spaces that are dry, okay? Let's say I'm wetting like a set. That's not necessary to be a set. You could do any shape. Just wetting here. Okay. The water is not so clean, so you can see that what I've done. So now I take my big brush, this one, with a lot of maybe. I'm doing this by doing this, okay? And now with this brush, you can decide if you apply directly or you leave a little, you do this with you here. Maybe you see that for example, let's say I'm going to draw a line. This line is hard line because when it's here, it's going to be, and this is going again hard lines. You see, the line is going to behave in a different way. When the paper is wet, you get this. When the paper is dry, you get this. So these things are interesting to do it in watercolors, you see, when you want. So every time we draw something in watercolor, it's interesting to have hard lines somewhere and soft lines somewhere else, okay? This is an example, okay? I could do also, I could do many things because this is just an example, but really watercolors is no, you can do a lot of research, a lot of new things. There's no rules, okay? So the second one is going to be the same. I will wait a little bit somewhere, yes, and maybe I will use now this brush, and I will take, let's say, more pigment, okay? Because the brush is small, and let's do the same. I have more pigment, but so I'm going to do when I pass over here, I got hard lines, and I'm doing by this is different, but by having smaller brush with more pigments, you can have different situations, okay? Something like this, okay? Okay, the next one, I think I will try to go a little quicker, but you need more time to do this part than this one. This is going to be dry. But when the paper is dry, another situation is that you could do also this, okay? That I'm waiting somewhere yes, somewhere not, but with this also very interesting. So I take my small brush here, because it's in the line of small brush, and I take, let's say, it's up to you, you try to take the different consistency. So now with smaller, you can do, well, you can do also this. Again, you can do things like this, you can draw something. So try to experiment. You can have, let's say, a landscape or something. So somewhere you get this effect when the paper is dry and different effect when it's wet, okay? Probably in this one you can have more darkness if you want somewhere. It is very important that in every watercolor you get different tonal values, which is very important to get your impacting points, okay, and your focal point. So you see this, you get this darkness together with all the rest, and you need to leave things happen without you, let's say. So if you wait a moment, this is going to move a step without you touching anymore, okay? It's like that's why watercolor is teaching us things in life, because it helps us to accept things. Sometimes sometimes you don't need to do anything. You can try also this, you see. Okay, the last one, it is the quicker one. The paper is completely dry, and I wanted to show you the effect of the different brushes. Okay, big brush here. So I take this with a lot of water and I do this. I do it quickly. I do it smaller. Just smaller, sorry. I do it slow. And maybe quick again, but with try this with this side instead of C, and see the different effects. So I will try to show you more near. You see what happened here? What happens here? That if you go quick, you get this white space where the water is not entering in the paper, and it's very nice because you can use this for water reflections or things that you can do when the paper is dry. Okay, if you go slow, it's like working with wash, for example, then when you get these, or if you get this, normally I don't touch it anymore because I want to keep this. Sometimes, it's not always, of course, but for example here, if I take more pigment, I can put again the dark here, always with this brush. Okay, sometimes you get cobble flowers, I'm not sure there's such a word, but sometimes you want to get intentionally, or sometimes not. Anyway, the second one is dry. I use this brush, medium. Maybe I will try to show you my palette. My little more consistency to be more dark. And now I'm doing like this. You see my brush is almost horizontal. You see, this is the effect that you can get. If your brush is like this, it's going to be not the same. I can add more water also here, more quick. If it's quick, you get this, which is nice. If you go slow, it's different, okay? So normally when your paper is dry, you should have a little bit scared to touch the paper, because we need to do only details when the paper is dry. I'm trying to use always the small brushes when the paper is dry to do details. Okay, so the last one is going to be my smaller, this brush, okay? And let's try a lot of pigment, maybe more water, and then again, same thing, you can see how it works. You can see, well, I forgot to mention that this is 100% cotton paper, and it's rough, okay? Normally I use fine grain, but sometimes also rough. Okay, you see, probably you can do this. You see, now I'm taking the pigment directly from the tube and it's much dark and I get this effect, okay? Anyway, or with a lot of water you get this, okay? And you need to check also the velocity, how quick it is. If you do it quick, like this, you get this, but if you do it slow, you don't get this effect, okay? Because you are, so that's, okay, during my course, I will be experimenting everything, okay, in my watercolors. Something that I didn't do here is that I do not wet both sides of the paper. Okay, so if you have questions, please contact me. I will try to turn my camera. Okay, so this is the experiment that we have done, and I hope you try it. And well, in this first lesson, I will be trying to use these things to create my sky and different paper conditions. And see you in the next lesson, and I hope you enjoy this course. Bye bye.